Well, guys, the other day I had a request for a video on how to switch over Fibre-Metal pipeliner to the Jackson Headgear. So we're going to do that today. Alright guys, Jason here, MMIP Mobile Welding. I had a viewer request for this video. They were wondering how you get the Jackson headgear to fit into Fibre-Metal pipeliner hood. I got this headgear out of an old large window, just passive Jackson hood that I had from back when I was starting out. The hood was real heavy, but I really liked the headgear, that's why I bought it. So I really like this pipeliner hood, so I decided I'd put that Jackson headgear in there, and I've really been liking it a lot. I've been running this hood now as my number one for probably 2 months. Ever since I got the Welding Shade 10 drop-in auto lens. Actually, it's a pretty good lens. I've been doing some scratch start TIG. I haven't done any TIG on stainless though, and I've noticed when my fab table is dressed out nice and I buff it down with a flap wheel. I try to before I get anything going, that way I got a nice flat surface. Sometimes when I flip my hood down, it'll go dark over that. It does actually pretty good outside. It's not too sensitive for the sun usually. I mean, sometimes if you're staring at the sun it'll go. But I did a video on this hood before, right before I got this lens actually, and I went over how you gotta trim the top and how you gotta trim the bottom, or else it karate chops you in the throat every time you put it down. And I got a couple extra chins, so that just wasn't working out for me. The other thing about my extra chins is when I was contracting, you have to run a lot of places now. You gotta run your hood on your hard hat, and the lens wasn't far enough down to meet my eyes, and so I had to, that's the stock location for the headgear. I moved it up as far as I could with where I had it trimmed, and it works great. That's the cool part about these hoods is, you can shave off of them, you can do whatever you want basically, and it's a tough material. It holds up. I've probably had my headgear mounted in this location for probably 3 years now, 2 years, so it's held up fine. But I wanted to go over this. So if you don't have to relocate this hole, it makes it a lot easier. And this is just exactly how it came out of my other Jackson hood, the Jackson headgear. So I originally had drilled I think it was 5/16 or 3/8 round hole, and then I took a small file and filed it out square up here, and then so the Jackson headgear won't fit through there, right? So I took I think it's 7/16 or 3/8 drill bit and just drilled it out so it'll fit. And then your locking tab that sets how far the hood can go before it locks up, or it kind of locks down but not really, but really it just locks to keep it up. And I really like this feature on these hoods. It's one thing I really like about the ESOP Sentinel A50, but that's going to be a conversation I think for another day. So yeah, I just lined all this up, and I had to drill a little hole there for the keeper, and it goes right in. So if you don't have to relocate your mounting tabs like I did for my fat head, you could probably just bore this out with the correctly sized drill bit. And it's the same on this side, right? So yeah, it's the same, both is the same. So just drill them out, and then this should pop right in. The only hard part, and it's easy when the headgear's out, is measuring your center distance here. So I mean, you got, what is that? 7/8 right on the nose. Looks about right. So you just have to figure out, you know, where you want it on how far you want the hood to come down, or go back when it locks up. So there's really not a lot to that. Pretty simple. One of the easier things I've done to a welding hood. Anyways, so yeah, all that just pops together. And then the part I really like about this hood is I don't get a lot of glare when I'm welding outside. I do a lot of repair on the side out of my truck. That's what I have this whole truck set up for, side work. And I've noticed with that 850 Sentinel that I bought, the ESOB hood, you get real bad glare sometimes. So if the sun's in a certain spot or something like that. But you can switch over to this hood and it eliminates most of that glare. But you can see how close the headgear sits. It's pretty close to the original Fibre-Metal headgear where it all sits. But that's what I got. And you can move it back if you want, but like I said, I keep my face crammed into this one. That way I don't get a lot of glare from the sun. But these holes, that was a field modification. We were building dry kilns and we were down this trench welding up condensate return lines. And you know, it's winter time here, so it's cold and wet and rainy. And my big ass crawling around in a trench all day. I've worked up a sweat multiple times. And the hard part would be I get down in there and my lens would fog up. So I cut these in just with a 6-inch Metabo, kind of at a flat angle. So if the arc hits it here, it's not going to come through and burn like, would burn most people's neck. Burns like my second chin, maybe my third chin, but I got that right enough that I don't get burnt. But I figure I'll show you guys what I got going with the truck too while I'm out here. Gang box, of course, fire tools. When you work a lot in the woods out here, I need to figure out where I'm going to mount my fire extinguisher and all that stuff. And I'm going to eventually build a skid. But I got a Yeti 105. I've had this cooler for 5 years now, and it's been in the back of my truck the whole time. It looks kind of ragged and haggard, but I use that as a step. I sit on it sometimes. You know, you can use it for whatever. They're tough. But I'm thinking, in front of where the cooler's at, I can stand up bottles there, torch bottles. Once I build a skid, I'm just going to build a 4x4 skid for the back part of the truck behind the welder. I can get torch bottles up there, and then once the cooler's not in there in the wintertime, when I'm really going to need it, because up in the woods right now, you ain't doing any welding. So summertime, I can keep my cooler in the truck, and that's where I do a lot of the air work and stuff. If I'm going to do any gouging, it'll be up in the brush. So if I have the cooler on the truck, I won't have room for air compressor. But for now, I'll probably just run. I've been finding pretty good deals on 230-volt compressors on Craigslist and like Facebook Marketplace. So with the AC output on the 300 Pro I have, I should be able to run that, gouge, do whatever I need, just kill it when it's done. You know, when I'm done with it. But I'll keep my leads there for now. Once I get everything figured out, I want to kind of come up off the side here maybe and out a little bit, but I don't really know yet. I haven't decided. I might try and downsize the gang box, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm trying to get everything going here and not really nail anything down until I know where I want it to be, kind of thing. But more jobs I do, the more time I spend working out of this thing, I'll know more of where I want things and how it's going to work out, because I don't want to string leads over the side of the truck. So what I have right now is I have them strung down the bedside, that and 2 extension cords, and that works pretty good. That way, even if they lay off to the side, they just come out right here. So I don't know. I might downsize the cooler, something I can put in the back seat, and then on the skid, a couple reels, put them up above the compressor right back here. That way I can just run leads out. But I don't know yet. That's a little later on down the road. So, got a lot going on right now. So yeah, if you guys have any questions or comments, put them down the bottom in the doobly-doo, as the Canadian dude says, AVE. Pretty cool channel if you guys don't watch it. Anyways, thanks for watching.